Ever felt like you are the least bit of their priorities, or like you care a lot more than they do? Ever felt like you're waiting, praying, and literally just analyzing, hoping that one day they're gonna change and start treating you like little, I don't know, royalty instead of the cuck that they treat you like you are? But let me tell you, that's never gonna happen. Okay, so stop acting like your mood depends on whatever they're gonna say or do to you or anything, because that is not a connection, darling. That is an insecure attachment, and the honest solution to that is detachment, and that is where self-respect begins. And I am here with this video. Hi, my name is Mims, and welcome to my channel where I basically give you self-loving tips and how you can glow up and become the most self-loving being you can possibly become. And in today's topic, we're going to be talking about detachment. So this is basically what you will find in the video, and there are always timestamps so that you can skip or do whatever you want with them. Okay, so I feel like there's a misconception on what exactly detachment is. Detachment equals staying grounded in yourself. It does not mean being rude or losing feelings or basically not caring. It's you realizing that, oh, this person is reflecting. This person is literally just projecting on me and I can move away. It's not feeling. It's basically feeling without losing control of yourself and your peace. It means allowing things to become what they are and unfold naturally, even that means relationships crumbling when there is no more respect or any more love in it. It basically means you respecting your boundaries to a point where you understand that another person's actions are not a reflection of your capabilities. Allowing things to unfold naturally, meaning that you don't have to force any outcomes, you don't have to chase any clarity, and you definitely do not have to chase any emotional over explaining or investing. This means that staying centered in yourself, regardless of what another person says or what they have to do. It's basically explaining to yourself that another person's external behavior isn't going to reflect my internal worth. Okay, so now I'll tell you the problem that happens when you are not a detached person. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that you are going to be overgiving because you feel insecure. See, overgiving in itself is a fault that I think has been talked about throughout the whole self-improvement community overall. But when you are not detached, you're going to be overgiving insanely. We're talking you explaining yourself a little too much, you showing up a little too much, you just being this person that gives everything. And at the end of the day, you're going to be feeling drained, you're going to be feeling like you don't love yourself as an individual at all. The second thing is you're going to be ignoring discomfort in order to keep a connection. I don't even know how this is like even a thing, but yeah, some people genuinely, you will ignore your own personal discomfort in order to make another person feel great, whether they insult you or ever not. So simply because they're your parent or they're your lover or they're your friend, you're going to be like, it's okay, because it doesn't matter how they make me feel as long as they're there. Because you're afraid of being alone or you're afraid of being lonely. But to be honest, at some point, even a caterpillar cocoons into this lonely bowl in order to become a butterfly. So I don't understand why it's such a thing. But of course, as humans, we're social creatures. So we are going to be afraid of that specific time in our lives when we're alone, but it's necessary for growth. Yeah. And then there is seeking reassurance repeatedly. Like everything that you do, from what you wear, what you eat, what you have this knowing need, this thing that scratches in the surface because you genuinely just want to be told, is this okay? Are you doing okay? Are you being great? And as an individual who has gone through that, I can tell you it is a real thing. You will need reassurance in every step of the way of whatever you're doing, and that is not actually an attractive behavior. And you will be accepting inconsistencies. Literally, you will accept and be the most amazingly grateful person for the small things that they do when they are being loving. But people who don't have detachment will fall for things like love bombing, because when the consistency is there, you're gonna be like this. But the moment the inconsistency comes up, then you're gonna start chasing, you're gonna be doing all those things, and just like, it's sad. Really, it's just sad. And then there is also explaining away disrespect. I'm talking the type of person that's like,
I'm so sorry. Can you just tell me what did I do wrong? Can you explain to me why you're treating me this way? Why I'm doing this and that, why you're having to do this and that?
Which, by the way, is opposite from a person who has learned to respect their boundaries and everything, because they're going to be like,
I do not deserve this from you, and I'm gonna walk out that door.
Because you have detached. So those are completely two different scenarios of a person who has had detachment and who hasn't. And then you will also be emotionally dependent on another person. You will literally have your emotions intertwined with how they treat you, how they feel. So today, if your mother told you something bad, you're gonna start feeling like that is the worst day of your life and you shouldn't even exist, because your emotions and everything about you has become so dependent on another person's point of view. So your day is going to be made either bad or good depending on another person, which, by the way, is kind of not attractive behavior at all. And then you start losing standards slowly, because let me tell you something about people. When they see that you have no boundaries, or your boundaries are so weak and not respected, they're going to start very slowly, like slowly, oh, what is this girl doing and how is she doing it best? They're gonna start being like, okay, so, oh, tap, oh, she doesn't like that, but let me tap again. Okay, she's allowing it. Then tap, 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 until you eventually disintegrate that whole entire standard into a null and void thing. And then your standards start losing because you've just let one thing be disrespected. I genuinely think that if they're disrespecting you more than once and you tell them the first time that they disrespected you and you don't like it the second time, they're choosing it, and you can also choose to leave. Okay, and then now we're moving to why detachment is the best option. Because it creates emotional stability. When you remove the whole power from another person and you put it back into yourself, and you start to show that my personality is safe and secure within myself, that I don't have to wait for another person's views, another person's standards for myself to feel like a secure person, you suddenly realize that, oh, wait, this person's disrespecting me, meaning that I don't have to sit here and listen to it. You suddenly become the person that regulates your own emotions according to you, not what another person does or thinks about you. You start to feel very stable, really stable. Number two, it stops the cycle of chasing validation. It stops the cycle of you having to go over and over again to the same group of people that are never going to be impressed with you to ask them, oh, did I do good today? Did what I did help? Is this okay? Is this not okay? Is what I'm doing okay? Is it not? No. You start to show from yourself, oh, did I like what happened today? Is what I did beneficial for me? Did it drain my energy? Did it make me feel good about myself? Did it make me feel bad about myself? Suddenly, you stop this whole cycle of chasing validation and not getting it and receiving. Your validation becomes something that you feel internally with, oh, do I look pretty today? Doesn't matter if nobody else tells me I look pretty, but because I feel pretty, I am. It makes behavior easier to evaluate. When you detach, when you remove yourself from a person emotionally and you're like, okay, let me look at it. What are they saying to me? Are they saying this because it's true, or are they simply just saying it because they are projecting? I'll tell you, half of the time when a person's mean to you, half of the time when a person can approve to you, especially as an older daughter, like half of the time when you're not impressed by when another person is not impressed by you, it's because they are literally projecting their insecurities onto you. They are showing you what they were not able to achieve, and they don't think you should either. It is very easy for you to get on some people's nerves. It's very easy for you to literally become another person's source of insecurity because you value yourself, you treat yourself like an alright person, and you give yourself the values that you deserve. But so we just have to learn that in this world, hurt people do hurt people. Hurt people do hurt people, and because of that, you have every right to decide that I get to evaluate your behavior and see if it's really based on something that truly needs to change within me, or something that's just wrong with you because you're a hurt person. it also protects your nervous system. I feel like this is something a lot of people really talk about, especially in the self-care community, that people's nervous systems literally gradually dysfunction when you give another person your own values, because suddenly you're going to be scared of certain things, and suddenly a certain look is going to trigger a certain reaction, a certain word is going to trigger a certain reaction, and then you're going to be left with this body that genuinely doesn't know what it's doing. Like, anybody says anything, you receive it as a different thing. Like, if I just look at you silently, suddenly you feel the need to fidget, you feel the need to work, you feel the need to do certain things, because your literal nervous system has been damaged because of certain ways people have looked at you in the past. So when you start to detach from certain people or how they made you feel emotionally, you're slowly going to regain the power to know that this isn't a trigger. This is just how another person expresses their thoughts, expresses their emotions. It has nothing to do with you. It also prevents self-abandonment. I don't even know how this is even something that needs to be talked about, because I feel like when you are attached to another person, whether it's they give you a certain value epistemically or any other way, you suddenly feel this need to always be near them. But when you detach, it prevents you abandoning yourself in order to please another person. Okay, so let's talk about things like eating disorders, mental disorders, anxiety, depression. All those things usually come outside. They come from evaluating the things that other people think about us, say about us, and do whatever. And then that's how we start abandoning ourselves, and then we end up with these sickly little things that are happening, and then you just suddenly, like, sometimes it can even lead to death when you abandon yourself. So I feel like detaching helps with you analyzing that this might not be anything to do with me. It might be an insecurity they hold in themselves, and it doesn't mean I have to stop eating because they do. Please. And then it also strengthens self-trust. When you decide to detach and you notice other people's behaviors and what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you're like, okay, I don't like this. You suddenly, when another person's shouting at you or whatever they're doing, you look at it and you're like, okay, so this isn't about me, this is about another person. So you start to trust yourself in certain things, whether it's making a decision on what you eat, what you wear, and how you do yourself, how you show up for yourself. You start to gradually start trusting yourself enough to know that this is about me, not about another person. And I get to treat myself a specific way because this is about showing myself that I love me. It's about showing myself that this is literally a goal for me and has nothing to do with anybody else. And suddenly you're gonna start showing up for yourself in ways that you never thought you were able to. Beyond that, it also allows genuine effort to reveal itself in your life. Because I feel like when you're always focusing on putting in efforts into other relationships that are not giving effort back to you, you're never really truly aware of when actual efforts are being given into you. I will give you this example. I had a friend who I genuinely wanted to be my best friend. She was in a specific way, but I don't think she gave me enough effort the same way another girl who I also consider a close friend of mine, but not a best friend, because this girl was. So I'll give an example like this. I had two friends, right? Let's call the first one Inisha and the other one Anisha. Right, so Nisha here did not respect our relationship. She would literally go outside of her way to make sure that she had other friends and other people that she considered far more than me, but I was still expected to always show up for her and be her best friend. And then we have Anisha here. Anisha was a loving individual all throughout, and she genuinely showed me a lot of respect and a lot of care, but I could not respect her enough to be my best friend because I already had one. And to me, it didn't make any sense for me to have two. But when you detach yourself and you show yourself, oh, so this is actually what happened. Now Anisha is my best friend. Anisha, not as much. We barely even talk anymore. But that's not because there is anything that she did wrong. But I simply had to detach enough to show myself that this relationship isn't working for me because I'm the only one putting effort into it. Whilst with Anisha's relationship. I put effort into it at the same time, but I could not put enough effort into it because I was already discarding a lot of effort into one relationship that I barely had enough to maintain the other one. So it just means that you have to evaluate, where am I being given effort and where am I not being given effort, and you decide, okay, this is what needs to be happening and I need to stop this from happening. Now we're going to be talking about the formula, as always. So the formula for today is, first, you have to notice behavior. Whether you write things down on who did what, when, and why, you write it down, you notice the behavior. And after you notice the behavior, you accept what is shown. It's notice behavior and then accept what is shown. Don't try and negotiate, reevaluate, justify why another person is doing what they're doing. I'll go back to the example of Phoenicia and Anisha. When you realize that, okay, Anisha basically doesn't think I'm cool enough to be a friend anymore, leave it like that. You don't have to justify, oh, but this because she's changed a bit. No. You've noticed behavior and leave it as it is. And on the other hand, you also notice and accept what is being shown to you as an individual. That this shows that they don't respect me, they don't love me enough, and that is not a fault by me. And the second thing will always be remove urgency. Remove the need to feel like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna be alone. No. Remove the value you give them to them and realize, as an individual, are they actually treating me the way I want to be treated? Are they treating me the way I need to be treated, and that they're respecting me enough? Remove the urgency of, what if this happens, I'm going to be lonely. If this happens, no. Stop giving them an overvalue of what literally they don't deserve. Stop putting them on a pedestal they don't need to be on. And stop forcing connections. That's rule number 3. That step is stop forcing connections. Literally, draw back and see if they're gonna put in any effort. Now, this is not you being toxic and deciding, oh, I'm gonna pull in and pull out. No, this is you realizing, if I stop putting an effort into this connection, what's gonna happen? Obviously, in an aspect where you're the only person who's putting in any effort, the connection is going to disrupt. The connection is going to literally just crumble into nothingness. And that is not a fault. That just means you were misaligned and that person does not deserve you. Because the honest truth is, you cannot lose something that was actually meant to be yours. And then the fourth thing is, maintain those standards. Always. Maintain those standards no matter what. Even if they decide to come back, reach out and be like, oh, what happened? And no. They're not allowed to show you any effort after you've already decided you're going to leave. That's not how that works, and that's never going to be how that works. So once you have decided, I have detached, I have left this alone, and I'm not going to look back anymore, you're going to maintain those standards no matter what anybody else says. You are going to maintain those standards through and through. And the last thing, their actions confirm the alignment. Whether or not it is them disrespecting you or respecting you, if they show you that they are not putting in any effort and their actions do not reflect what they either say about you or imply about you, if their actions are showing that they don't respect you and they don't love you enough, and they don't care about whether it's your time, your energy, your space, it means they don't respect you. What their actions show, it's always going to be louder and stronger than what their words show, what their implications show, or what their eyes show. Okay? And here are a few practical ways to start this. Literally, you can observe without reacting immediately. Just look at what they're doing, listen to what they're saying, and do not react. Don't reply, don't justify yourself, don't act like what they're saying is a surprise or like you feel like you're being the most disregarded person. You probably are, but if you react, you are still showing them that you care. You are showing them that they still have power over you, and you not reacting gives you back that power. Delay emotional response. Delay it as much as you possibly can. Put it in buffer if you have to. Make sure that before the emotions in your heart get to your head, there is like a buffer at your throat going loading. Is this information being processed? Do not at all respond emotionally in the moment, because you might say things that will not benefit you in the long run, might affect your relationship or even basically your reputation without you realizing it. So just do not at all react emotionally in the moment. Just your response, delay it as much as you possibly can. And then reduce over explaining. That's the third thing. Reduce over explaining. Don't explain to somebody why you need to be respected. Don't explain to somebody why what they're doing hurts you, or don't explain yourself over and over again as many times as you possibly can, thinking they're gonna get it. If they don't get it the first time, they're not gonna get it the second time, my love, and they're definitely not gonna get it the third time. So you just need to respect yourself enough to realize, I have every right to leave. And then invest attention into your own life. Invest attention into things that actually matter. Invest attention into relationships that grow you, not relationships that make you feel like you need to be a healer. I feel like the problem with a lot of women is that we want to fix things. We want to be the fixers of every broken man, woman, friend, mother, father out there. But that is not your responsibility. You have a life and you're supposed to live it. And you're not going to live it on the terms of another broken individual that genuinely needs a therapist and a psychologist to help them. You are not that. You don't have a degree in that, and then you don't need to help them. Okay? Match effort calmly. I would say this one for the ones in the back. For the girls there in the back there, I have 3 ears, but all of them are blocked. Match effort calmly. If you see they are not putting as much attention into you, draw back and put in as much attention as they give you into them, and see if they complain about it. If they complain about it, that just means that they don't respect you and you have every right to leave. But if you match the same energy they give you and then they don't see anything with it, maybe that's just the level they have. That's the level of attachment they have. So just match their effort and leave it at that. You don't have to over-explain yourself or overact or over-be. Just match the effort they give you and give that to them and see how they react to that. Because if they react negatively to you giving them the same amount, it just means that they knew what they're doing was wrong and they continue to do it anyways. And then prioritize internal stability. Above everything else, what you can do is make sure that when you feel your emotions skyrocketing, everything, when you feel your mental being, your mental health just like deteriorating in the presence of a person, you're very much allowed to leave. You're very much allowed to prioritize what you feel over what anybody else has to say about you. And then to end off, I'm going to say this. Detachment is not indifference. It is emotional self-esteem. It is emotional protection. It is emotional choosing. It is when you decide you want to choose your dignity over anything else. When you decide you want to choose your peace. Self-respect is the priority that you're supposed to always uphold over everything, and everything else will align after when you decide that I'm going to detach, and anything that decides to follow follows. Literally, if you love it, let it go.